Hello and welcome, fellow Wasteland survivors. I'm Dean, aka Nasty Bones, and thanks for joining me today at Abernathy Farms where we're building the USS Enterprise. Now we're going to take a break from that for a little bit and work on some of the surrounding area. I need to get my settlers back into beds and stores, things like that. And one of the things I want to start working on are some gun turrets. And today's video, I'm going to show two different ways we can make some. These kind of scrappy, junky looking, raiderish looking gun turret stands, they're also guard posts. Now this one that we're looking at right here has 4 heavy laser turrets at the top. It's got 4 lights around it. The lights can be made once you finish the Armatron DLC and find the schematics at the end. It's got 3 guard posts, and the total defense on this one is 62. Now the first one that we're going to build today is this one. It's a little more simple. It's got 3 heavy laser turrets at the top instead of 4. It's got 2 lights instead of 4, and it's got 1 guard station. The defense total on this one is 42. Okay, let's jump into the scaffolding section and get started. Now the way we're going to build these today, you could really use any of these pieces. But I'm going to use this floor-sized one that has like the little extra detail in the piping. And I'm going to sink it in the ground about a foot. We'll see why here in a second. Add on a floor. Then in the wall section, we're going to use these shack corner pieces. It's real easy to line them up from down here on the ground. Or you could use the concrete curved wall trick to, lift the floor up 1 level or 1 floorboard thickness. Now we'll add on 4 more and then just select the scaffolding and bring it up, and it fits right into it. There's actually no way to snap those into the scaffolding. It's really about the only way to do it. Now let's go ahead and add our gun turrets on, and you could really position these any way that you'd like to. I like to put them in the corners. I feel that sometimes if they get shot with rockets or something like that, those little posts might absorb quite a bit of the impact. Now I'm going to throw out a floor, and I'm going to put some of these shack railings around it. We'll use a concrete pillar, group select it, bring it over, and we're going to line it up to our build. Now keep this in mind that you don't want to go too high. You want to cover a little bit of the turret, but you don't want to cover it too much that it blocks, the laser fire. Normally when you build, you always build from the ground up. It's a lot easier. But in this case, we're going to build from the top story down. The reason is because I don't want to have to build scaffolding up there, and we're going to be doing a lot of group selecting, and it's just going to be easier to do it at ground level. So now what we're doing here is placing our guard post on and lining it up. Normally I'll just jump up on the floor. I can see it a lot better and get it lined up easier, but I get it on the second try there. Now we'll snap some of these junky railings on. They won't snap on the side that has the extra bar on the scaffolding. I'm really not for sure why. So I've got to use group select to put that piece in. Like I said, it won't snap on there. We've got a little piece sticking out for a ladder to go on, and now we'll lift the build up to the next level. And that's looking really good. But I think that we should go ahead and put another set of those junky railings around underneath. I think that'll look, just make it look a little better and help hide the scaffolding a little more. So I'll bring the build down a little bit so it's easier to get our group selected objects over to it. And I'll just kind of line them up. Yeah, let's do this side where it's a little more daylight and easier to see. We'll get them lined up. And once you do, just lift it straight up until it turns red and just kind of fidget with it and get it as close as you can. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I think we got it. All right, now let's go ahead and lift our build up one more time. And yeah, let's move it over here into the daylight where we can see a little better. The building has got a shadow there and it's making it a little hard to see. All right, I know what you're thinking. How are we going to power this? We've got gun turrets and lights here. We need to power it. Well, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to use some of the conduits. Now I pull out 2 of the barn-sized wall ones and 1 of the vanilla wall-sized one. And you can see the little pattern I'm making here. And what I'm doing is I'm putting in a light. We're also going to put in some radiators, one facing down, and here in a second when I get to that section we'll do one facing up. Now put the vanilla wall sized upright conduit on the top, and then we'll put a wire connect up there. And as you can see in the middle, it's got the 2 radiators, one going up, one going down. We'll also put a connector at the bottom. Okay, what I've decided to do here is move the light, and that should make the light a little closer to the guard in the guard tower. Not so much in the back, more up towards the front. Now we'll use our pillar. We'll group select it and bring it over into the build. Now the reason we made it so long is we're going to go actually from corner to corner. And I should have not put the Junkie railings up yet on this bottom part. Would have made it a lot easier to see getting it aligned up. But since they're in there, I can see it pretty good. And I go ahead and get it in there. And once I think it's just right, we'll place it down. And the reason those conduits went in so nicely is they are designed to go through the floors, the walls, and ceilings. And yeah, you can see there we're going to have a little light here where the guard hangs out. And the other one goes up to the top where the laser turrets are at. Now let's go hook them up. Now the simplest way to hook these turrets up is by using the wire glitch that we use. Where you highlight the wire, put the cursor on the object you want to run the wire from, and then go ahead and connect it to whatever you're wanting to connect your wire to. It makes it super easy because there's a couple of objects in the way and the wires wouldn't connect up directly. Now let's go ahead and put some more of these Junkie railings up. I want to enclose this bottom in because what I'd like to do is make this fully self-contained. In other words, it will house its own power. Now you could bring power over to it from another location. That's up to you if you want to do it. I'm just going to show you how you can use 4 of these little 3 generators that produce 3 power. That totals 12 to run these gun turrets and guard station towers. We'll just connect them all up. Once I do that, we'll connect it to the guard post, the guard tower, group select it, bring it over, set it on top of it. And if we ever want to group select it and move it, it'll even move the generators with it. Now the generators are producing 12. We're only using 2 power per heavy laser, so that's 6. 2 per light, so that's 10. We're producing 12, but we're only using 10. But because we can produce 12, it's still enough to run 4 lights, 4 heavy laser turrets, which is what our next build is. Now I'm just kind of spending a second and kind of just adding some little odds and ends to it. You could use those little pike poles. You can see I put the ones with the skulls up on there. I'm trying to figure out how I want to put these lights on, and finally I kind of get them in the corner, which I really like that. Instead of up front and flat, they're kind of on an angle. Give us a little bit wider light view range. And then once again I'll use the wire glitch to connect those canister lights up so that they're working. And now at this point, it's entirely up to you how you want to, kind of decorate it and fix it up. You could put lights on there or banners. The possibilities are endless. Okay, now the next tower is a little more complicated and time consuming. First of all, I've laid out several floors, and I'm lining these metal posts up so that they stick off the edge of one floor just a little bit. I don't want them fully right in the corner. Now we're going to use some of these shorter metal posts and use those as markers. We're going to go ahead and take out the longer metal posts so we can snap that barn wall in. The reason we want the barn wall to go in is it makes it super easy to put a floor in there. And now all we got to do is put a marker up for our floor. We can't actually snap these metal posts underneath with a floor in the position that we have them. Now I'll place 4 more little metal posts underneath, or the shorter ones. We'll bring our build down, and what them are is those are kind of like guides. We're going to use some of the ball tracks, and we're going to create supports. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line these up with the 2 short ones on the lower part. And if I would have used the longer ones, those would have collided with them, and I never would have been able to have gotten those ball tracks in. Now it doesn't look quite straight, so we're just going to go ahead and pull them out again and realign it. It is a little bit tedious to get these in there nice and straight. But if you work with it for a little bit, you'll get them right in there and you'll be super happy with them. Yep, just like that. I really like that. Now it looks like a support holding that floor up. And we'll repeat it on the other side as well. Now we can't do it on all 4 sides. The reason is because the ball tracks collide with each other at the bottom, and you couldn't never get them in all at the same level. One side would be just a little lower than the other. Okay, now we have to take out the floor so we can get the longer metal posts back in. Remember, they won't snap in if the floor's in. Now we'll go ahead and put up one of those walls that these corners snap to, and all the corners snap right into it. Absolutely perfect. Now, once again, just put some of these Junkie railings up. And I think we'll use this different style this time. Now, even though the metal posts stick out farther than the floor, it'll still line up to it and turn green. And it actually gives it a pretty cool look, like it's nailed to it. Now, I should have put the turrets up before I put the railings, but I did this to go ahead and show you that you still could get your turrets in there even with the railings up. Now let's go ahead and lift our build, and basically what we're going to do is just repeat the same process. We need to take out the floor so we can snap our longer metal posts in. Then we can put the floor back in. We'll lift it up some more so we can get up to it a little higher. Take the floor out, take out the bottom metal posts, put in our shorter ones, and then put our floor back in. What we're doing is we're making another guide for some more of the ball tracks. And I think this time we'll put them on the opposite side. So instead of these supports all being on the same side, it's like staggered. One tier has them on one side, one tier on the other. And I'll just repeat the same process that we did when we put those other ball tracks in. Bring them over, line them up the best I can with the short metal posts on the sides. Once I got them where I think it's about right, just bring it down till it turns green. And that looks great. Everything's lined up nice. Now I can go ahead and put a marker on the floor. But now keep this in mind, because we put those ball tracks in there, we're not going to be able to snap a full floor back in. What we're going to need to do is actually put 4 quarter floors in. They actually penetrate up into the bottom of the floor a little bit, and it won't let you snap a full floor in. Now I'll bring the build down a little bit so we can go ahead and start adding our guard stations on. And this time I'll do it from the floor on the guard station, where it's, like I said earlier, a lot easier to line them up and get them just perfect. Okay, and once again I was a dumbass and put the junkie railings up before we installed our electrical conduits. It just made it so much harder to see and line up. But it's basically the same thing that we did with the other gun turret station. And once we get that installed in, we can go take a look at it. You can see how everything looks real nice and tidy. It actually looks like, it's all supported. More realistic looking. I do like this style of gun turret and guard station build better than the other one. It's a lot harder to build, but it does look a lot nicer. It just doesn't have that, scaffolding look. Now we'll go ahead and put a few lights up. I did struggle trying to find a place to put these. It only wanted to do it right at the very bottom on these particular junkie railings. But finally, after messing around with it for a while, I just get them on there, and they work out okay. I would have rather have had them out on the corners. So apparently this style of junkie railing won't let you kind of get it out on the corner like the other ones did. Now those canister lights require 1 power, but they produce 2 defense. So with 4 lights up, that would be 4 power. We've got 4 laser turrets up at the top. Each one of those require 2 power, so that's 8. That's a total of 12 power now. Then we also have our 3 guard stations with a total of 6 there. And now, our 4 generators are more than enough to run everything that's in this tower. Plus we have radiators on our electrical conduits, so we can run any kind of external lighting that we'd like to. It's just up to you however you want to do it. Now this time, instead of actually housing the generators in with some of the junkie railings, I'm showing you how to actually sink it down into the ground. So you could still do your generators but not have anything down at the bottom. And then we'll just connect everything up, and this will produce, like I said earlier, 62 defense in total. Now, also keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that even though I used generators on these builds, it's super easy to just go ahead and run other pre-existing power that you might have in your settlement over to it. It's up to you, to decide that. I find that building 4 little generators takes a lot less build size than if I run a bunch of conduits, wiring, whatever over to the Tourrent stand itself. Okay, one more quick thing before we go. Let's say you were using these metal poles, but you didn't like the way they stuck up, 5-6 feet above the guard station. All you have to do is use these concrete pillar, and you can actually sink them down into the ground and make them more the size or the height that you'd like it to be. This is a really good tip if you're using these for supports, and they just seem to be a little too high in the air. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's about it for today's video. I really hope that this was informative and gave you guys a lot of great ideas on, maybe adding some more different textures or things to your build. Or maybe give you some good ideas to build this type of gun turret and guard station tower. They do really look nice, they're fun to make, and they produce quite a bit of defense. They work real nice as gates, gate posts, or little areas just before you come into your settlement, kind of like how they are there. You could put a gate in between them, and they look super great. You put up 3 of these bigger ones and you'd have more than 150 defense, which is all your settlement needs to begin with. If your luck is high and you have 150 defense, your settlements will always defend themselves, and you'll never have to go there and help defend them. You can continue to keep playing this awesome game of Fallout. Alright, everybody, thanks for coming and hanging out with me. Appreciate your precious time. And just like always, until next time, please stay safe and peace.